If you're visiting Prague for the first time, you don't need to see everything. You need to know what's actually worth your time. With so many famous landmarks and hidden corners, it's easy to waste hours on the wrong things. Today, we're counting down the 10 things you must do in Prague on your first trip, including the iconic experiences you shouldn't miss and a few smart tips that can make them even better. If you're planning your first trip to Prague, this guide will help you prioritize. We've picked the experiences that are genuinely worth doing for first-time travelers, along with practical tips on when to go and how to enjoy them without wasting valuable time. And stay until number 1, because it isn't necessarily Prague's most famous attraction, but it's the experience we'd prioritize most on a first trip. Let's start with one of Prague's quieter historic gems. Number 10. Explore Vyšehrad. If you have enough time to explore beyond Prague's busiest tourist areas, Vyšehrad is well worth adding to your itinerary. This historic fortress area sits above the Vltava River and offers beautiful walking paths, gardens, historic buildings, and impressive city views. Prague city tourism also highlights its churches, monuments, and peaceful green spaces. We'd recommend visiting in the morning or late afternoon and giving yourself enough time to actually walk around rather than treating it as another quick photo stop. The atmosphere here is noticeably calmer than around Old Town, making it a great place to slow down. First-timer tip: if you're staying for at least 3 days, give Vyšehrad a couple of hours rather than trying to squeeze it into a rushed sightseeing schedule. Now let's head back toward the historic center, where you'll find one of Prague's most fascinating and historically important neighborhoods. Number 9. Explore the Jewish Quarter. Prague's Jewish Quarter, or Józef, is one of the city's most historically significant areas. It's home to several historic synagogues, the Old Jewish Cemetery, and other sites connected to centuries of Jewish history. The cemetery itself contains more than 12,000 preserved tombstones. This is worth visiting because it offers something very different from simply admiring Prague's architecture. It gives you a deeper understanding of the city's history and cultural heritage. We'd recommend visiting earlier in the day and allowing enough time to explore rather than simply walking through the neighborhood. First-timer tip: check opening days and visitor information before you go because the individual sites have specific schedules and visitor rules. But Prague isn't only about museums and historic landmarks. Sometimes, one of the best ways to experience the city is simply to slow down and walk. Number 8. Wander through Malá Strana. Malá Strana, or Lesser Town, is one of those Prague neighborhoods where you don't really need a strict itinerary. Located below Prague Castle and across the river from Old Town, its historic streets are filled with colorful buildings, churches, small squares, and beautiful architectural details. We'd suggest exploring it on foot, especially if you're already visiting Prague Castle. Late morning or afternoon works well, but don't be afraid to wander beyond the busiest streets. This is where Prague starts feeling less like a sightseeing checklist and more like a city you're actually experiencing. First-timer tip: don't simply follow the main tourist route. Take a few side streets and explore without a destination. You'll often find some of the neighborhood's most charming corners that way. Now let's move to one of Prague's most famous landmarks, but the timing can make a huge difference. Number 7. Walk across Charles Bridge before the crowds. You can't take your first trip to Prague seriously without walking across Charles Bridge. The historic bridge connects Old Town with Malá Strana and is lined with 30 statues and sculptures. It's one of Prague's most recognizable landmarks. The bridge is worth experiencing for its historic architecture, river views, and incredible atmosphere, but we'd strongly recommend going early in the morning. By the middle of the day, Charles Bridge can become extremely crowded. Early morning gives you a much better chance of appreciating the views and architecture without constantly navigating through crowds. First-timer tip: don't just cross the bridge and leave. Stop occasionally, look back toward the Old Town skyline, and actually take in the views. And once you've crossed the bridge, there's another place nearby where you can experience the heart of historic Prague. Number 6. Take your time in Old Town Square. Old Town Square is one of the places you'll almost certainly visit in Prague, and for good reason. It's surrounded by some of the city's most recognizable buildings, including the Old Town Hall, Church of Our Lady before Tin, St. Nicholas Church, and Kinsky Palace. It's worth spending some time here because several different parts of Prague's history and architecture come together in one place. If your itinerary allows, consider seeing the square during both the day and evening, when the atmosphere changes considerably. And if you're there when the astronomical clock is about to strike the hour, stay and watch its famous mechanical procession. First-timer tip: don't spend your entire visit standing in the middle of the square. Explore the surrounding streets too. Some of the most enjoyable parts of Prague are just beyond the obvious tourist stops. Number 5. Visit Prague Castle. No first trip to Prague would be complete without exploring Prague Castle. This enormous historic complex includes St. Vitus Cathedral, the Old Royal Palace, St. George's Basilica, and Golden Lane, so don't make the mistake of treating it as a quick photo stop. The castle complex has more than 1,000 years of history behind it. We'd recommend going earlier in the day and giving yourself several hours, especially if you want to explore the interiors. First-timer tip: check the official opening hours before visiting. The castle complex and its individual historic buildings have different hours, and those can change seasonally. But after several hours of historic buildings and sightseeing, you might want something a little more relaxed and one of Prague's best views. Number 4. Enjoy the views from Petřín Hill. For a quieter experience with beautiful city views, head to Petřín Hill. The hill offers green spaces, walking paths, and the famous Petřín Tower overlooking Prague. It's a great way to escape the busiest tourist streets without actually leaving the city center. We'd suggest going in the late afternoon when you can combine the walk with the changing light over the city. First-timer tip: don't visit only for the tower. The walk through Petrín's surrounding green spaces is part of the experience, so give yourself enough time to explore instead of rushing straight to the viewpoint. Before we continue with our top 3, if you're enjoying this Prague guide, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe to Love Hard Travel Harder. And if you're still deciding where to stay, we've already created a Prague hotel guide featuring 5 affordable options for first-time travelers. You'll find that video linked below. Now, let's get into the final 3 experiences that we'd prioritize most on a first trip to Prague. Number 3. Explore the Clementinum. The Clementinum is one of Prague's most beautiful historic complexes, best known for its Baroque library and astronomical tower. It's right in the heart of Old Town, making it easy to combine with other central attractions. What makes it worth your time is the combination of beautiful architecture, fascinating history, and the panoramic view from the tower. First-timer tip: don't assume you can simply walk in whenever you want. Visitor access is organized around tours, so check the current schedule before planning it into your day. And if you're looking for something completely free that can give you one of the best views in Prague, save this next experience for the end of the day. Number 2. Watch the sunset from Letná Park. For one of the most memorable free experiences in Prague, head to Letná Park around sunset. From its elevated position above the Vltava River, you can look across the city and see several of Prague's historic bridges and rooftops stretching into the distance. There's no complicated itinerary here. Just arrive a little early, find a good viewpoint, and watch the city change as the sun goes down. First-timer tip: don't arrive at the exact moment of sunset. Get there a little earlier so you can find a good spot and enjoy the changing light. But our number 1 isn't a single attraction, and that's exactly why we think it deserves the top spot. Number 1. Experience Prague's historic center after dark. Our number 1 isn't a single attraction. It's an experience. After you've visited the major landmarks, spend an evening simply walking through Prague's historic center after the crowds begin to thin out. Start around Old Town, wander through the surrounding streets, cross toward Charles Bridge, and continue into Malá Strana. The same streets you've seen during the day can feel completely different at night, with illuminated buildings, quieter corners, and a much more relaxed atmosphere. First-timer tip: don't plan every minute of this walk. Leave some room to wander, stop for dinner or a drink, and enjoy Prague without constantly checking your itinerary. For us, that's what makes a first trip memorable. Not just seeing Prague, but actually experiencing it. So, if you're planning your first trip to Prague, here's how we'd prioritize the list. For history and architecture, Prague Castle is the one you shouldn't miss. For beautiful views and a quieter escape, choose Petřín Hill or Letná Park at sunset. For something more unique, explore the Clementinum. And if you want the experience we'd recommend above everything else, spend an evening exploring Prague's historic center without rushing from attraction to attraction. We've also linked our Prague hotel guide below if you're still deciding where to stay, and we'll soon have a separate guide covering which areas you may want to avoid in Prague. Prague is one of those cities where you can see a lot in just a few days, but the best experiences aren't always about checking off the most attractions. Give yourself time to walk, explore, and enjoy the city between the major sites. And if you're planning the rest of your Prague trip, check out our hotel guide next, and keep an eye out for our upcoming Don't Stay in These Areas in Prague video. Thanks for watching Love Hard Travel Harder. Until the next trip, travel smarter, stay better, and spend less.